Good morning. It is 9:02. My name is Sherry Bars, General Manager of Community and Development Services for Wheatland County. I will call this meeting of the Municipal Planning Commission to order. As per the Municipal Planning Commission Bylaw 2018-11, the commission is required to appoint a chair and vice chair at the first meeting following council's organizational meeting. This meeting may be recorded and uploaded to social media. We are conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with Section 199 of the Municipal Government Act, which allows council and committee meetings to take place in person. Council chambers is open to members of the public at this time, and everyone has the right to be present at council and committee meetings. Please note that any attendees considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair in accordance with Section 198 of the Municipal Government Act. Finally, as per Municipal Planning Commission Policy 7.13, members of the public are not permitted to speak unless the commission grants approval to do so. Okay. We will now proceed with the appointment of the chair and vice chair. Voting procedure for this meeting will be as follows. Should there be more than one nomination for the chair or vice chair, a secret ballot will be taken. The candidate receiving the majority of the votes will be declared successful. If a clear majority is not achieved on the first vote, voting will continue using a ranked choice process. Only the first and second choices will remain, and the third and subsequent choices would be eliminated. This process continues until a clear majority is achieved. Are there any objections to this voting procedure? I see none, so we will proceed with the nomination for the chair. I will call for nominations 3 times. Any nominations for chair? Commissioner Larson.
I'll nominate Glenn Kester.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I call for nominations for chair.
I'll nominate Donna Bigger. Member Bigger, I should say.
Commissioner, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
And I will call a 3rd time for nominations for the chair. Okay. I see none, so we'll proceed with the vote. We have Commissioner Donna Bigger as chair.
Thank you. With the vice chair, we'll actually continue with the vice chair. And same procedure, the nominations will be called 3 times. First call, I'll call for nomination of vice chair for the Municipal Planning Commission.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Hebbs.
Do you accept?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Glenn Kester.
Commissioner Kester, do you accept?
Yeah.
I'll call again for vice chair nominations. Twice, third time, I'll call again for nominations of vice chair. Being none, we'll vote.
The vice chair is Commissioner Kester.
Congratulations, Commissioner Kester. With the vice chair now appointed, we will proceed with the destruction of the ballots from today's votes. Looking for a motion regarding the ballots, a motion to move the commission destroy the ballots from this meeting.
So moved.
All in favor? And that is carried. We will start with the agenda of the Municipal Planning Commission, November 12th, 2025. The agenda is in front of you. Have a motion? Okay.
I'll move that Municipal Planning Commission approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor? And that is carried. Moving to 1.3, adoption of the minutes. Go ahead.
I'll move the minutes as presented.
All in favor? And that is carried. And now we'll move to development permit applications, 2.1 DP 2025001.
Good morning. My name is Suzanne Hayes. I'm a development officer with Wheatland County. I have two applications to present this morning. The first application begins on page 13 of the agenda package. It is for a medium industrial business. The location plan is on page 21. It is located approximately 11 kilometers west of the town of Strathmore, on the south side of Durham Drive in the Origin Business Park. We circulated to surrounding landowners within 1 mile. We did not receive any responses. For agencies, we circulated to Alberta Transportation. They said that pursuant to the Highways Development and Protection Regulation, they issued an exemption from requiring a permit from Alberta Transportation for this application. We circulated to internal staff. Fire services said as there is no separation between shipping containers, there is an increased risk of fire spread. Shipping containers should be spaced away from the other buildings to a 5-foot setback, and that all structures should have a fire inspection. The planning or the operations department said that if the business is to utilize the existing approach, then a paved approach inspection will be required. This has been added as a condition as that is their intention, is to use the existing approach. Pages 22 through 24, we have the site plan. So you can see outlined in purple is there is a mobile office, an a bathroom trailer and a new storage building. And then there are the C cans. There are 6 C cans, and where the arrows are pointing is where they are not meeting the 5-foot setback or 1.52 meters between structures. So I'll just give a few details of the application. The application is for a business that rents or sells equipment and tooling for the piling construction industry. Outside storage will include dirt augers, cleanout buckets, casing, core barrels, and rock augers. Some large equipment awaiting rental will also be stored outside, which may include loaders, excavators, and drill rigs. Smaller items will be stored in the shipping containers. There will be no dangerous goods on site. The proposed buildings, as I mentioned, is the office trailer, a self-contained lavatory, 6 shipping containers, and the storage building for cold storage. On page 24, I'll just show an aerial photo. So the applicants are leasing the front 2.5 acres of the 5-acre parcel on the south side of Durham Drive and do not intend to use the rear portion at this time. Adjacent land uses include both developed and undeveloped industrial lots, and right to the west there is the stormwater pond. So there are, as I mentioned, variance requests for the buildings that are the C-cans that are too close together. And as I mentioned, Fire Services has provided a comment saying that they just need to be set back from other buildings and make sure that the 5-foot setback is maintained there. As described in the policy analysis section on page 16, the application meets the provisions of the municipal development plan, the area structure plan, and it meets the land use bylaw in most respects, as industrial medium is a discretionary use in the industrial general district. The application aligns with the purpose and intent of this district as it provides for light or medium industrial development that has minimal to no impact on adjacent landowners in terms of a nuisance. The part where it doesn't align with the industrial general district is for the 5-foot setback between structures. So in cases where a development does not meet the requirements of the land use bylaw, an applicant the development authority has the option to approve a development permit, even though it does not comply if the proposed development would not unduly interfere with the amenities of the neighborhood or materially interfere with or affect the use, enjoyment, or value of neighboring parcels of land, and the proposed development conforms with a similar use prescribed for that district. The technical review begins on page 17. A traffic impact letter, a stormwater management plan, and a screening plan were submitted and were reviewed by county staff and the county's third-party engineer. Following requested revisions, they were deemed to be acceptable. Staff's recommendation is on page 14. Recommendation: consider that the application aligns with the West Highway 1 area structure plan, the municipal development plan, and the land use bylaw, and the variance criteria was considered. The technical documents submitted in support of the application have been reviewed and approved by the county's third-party engineers. Staff noted that no concerns were raised from surrounding landowners regarding the application. Fire Services is not concerned with the variances provided the 5-foot setback is maintained between the shipping containers and the other buildings. So staff are recommending approval with the recommended variances. As you can see in condition 1 and 2, we stipulate the variances that have been requested. And also staff would like to add a condition. So if I go here, Fire Services had requested that there be a condition for a fire inspection. And so that has now been added as condition 9. Prior to commencing operations, they need to have a fire inspection. And other than that, the standard 3 response options for Municipal Planning Commission to consider are on page 19, and that is MPC can accept the recommendation. They do not have to accept the recommendation, or they can provide an alternative recommendation of their own choosing. And that concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Commission's wishes? Go ahead.
Just with them renting or leasing the first 2.5 acres, I assume if in the future somebody wanted to rent the back 2.5 acres, we'd have to give them an easement and they'd move some stuff around, or just for information. Thanks.
We typically do not allow two businesses to operate on one parcel unless it was subdivided as condo units. So I have already advised the applicant that this would be the only business that would be allowed on that parcel.
Go ahead.
This fire inspection, would that be done by the county?
Yes, the county has a fire codes inspector through the inspections group.
Okay. And another question. Condition number 9, ongoing minimization of control of dust and erosion and weed management are permanent obligations. I'm concerned about the dust. I've never thought of it before. We've had some terrible winds this year, and I've seen dust come off of places I haven't seen it before. How do they control dust, those sites? Do you know? Or
I think in some cases it's with the gravel. They put gravel on, or there may be grass or plantings. That would be up to them to determine how they're going to address the dust. They could do water, I guess, as well.
I like the idea of gravel and grass. If it's grass, it has to be kept up and mowed, and that will look after the weeds. If it's gravel, eventually the gravel gets sunk in, and then the clay comes to the surface and it gets dusty again. So the crux of my question, does somebody from the county go out there and inspect these sites on a yearly basis, say, hey, this dust control here is not going to be adequate, or the weeds are too high, or for the longevity of the project, I wouldn't like to see calcium chloride used because of the runoff there and all the drainage issues. I would prefer grass or screened gravel with no sand in it.
It's not our current procedure that we go out annually, but it is on a complaint basis. If we had complaints, we would go out. And I believe the weed inspector has gone out and addressed weed concerns.
Okay. I'm thinking in the future, as we get more developments, it wouldn't hurt for, I don't know, development officer or somebody to take a drive through once in a while and note anything, just to keep it neat. It's my idea.
Okay, thank you. Noted.
Thanks.
Is there any more questions or discussion?
I was just going to put a motion forward if
Go ahead.
I move that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2025-001 for a business renting or selling piling construction equipment defined as industrial medium with 4 variances subject to the conditions as presented.
I'll call a motion. Voting? Yeah, go. All in favor? Sorry.
I can hardly hear you, Donna.
Sorry. That's carried. I'll speak up. Development permit 2.2 DP 2025-180.
As this application is for a variance, it begins variant 3 variances. It begins on page 27 of the agenda package. The location plan is on page 32. It is located it is immediately north of the hamlet of Cheadle, 90 meters west of Highway 24. We circulated to adjacent landowners +1. We did not receive any responses. In our internal circulation, fire services had no comments or concerns. The planning department summarized how the application aligns with the MDP and the LUB and the hamlet of Cheadle area structure plan. Pages 33 to 36, we can see a site plan and aerial photos. So I'll just give a few details. A compliance review was requested by a landowner, which identified 3 sheds that did not meet the setbacks to the rear or west property line. And here you can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. Sheds A, B, and C. One is 0.55 meters and the required setback is 3.05. One is 0.57 meters and one is 0.31. A shed that is less than 9.29 square meters typically doesn't require a development permit. However, this smallest shed, because it doesn't meet the setbacks, a variance is required and a development permit for that one as well. So in order to receive a compliance status, development permits with variances are required for all 3 buildings. Alternatively, the buildings may either be removed from the parcel or a permit may be issued with the requirement that the structures be moved into compliance, or approval of a development permit with a variance to the setbacks is required. And that is what the applicant is requesting. Page 36, we have a photo of the 3 sheds. Page 37, rather. The parcel is surrounded by a mix of agricultural and residential parcels within the hamlet, with the hamlet of Cheadle being directly south. And the parcel is to the west, directly to the west, is a 151-acre agricultural parcel with no buildings or structures. Page 28 is staff's recommendation. The land use bylaw variance criteria was outlined in the policy analysis section, which I read on the last application. As required by the land use bylaw, a variance greater than 10% must go to the development authority for approval. In this case, it's Municipal Planning Commission. Staff's recommendation considered that no concerns were raised from surrounding landowners or the internal circulation, and staff are of the opinion that the variance criteria has been met and has provided a recommendation on that basis. So staff are recommending that MPC approve this application for the variances for 3 sheds, subject to the conditions as noted. And we have the standard 3 response options on page 30. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner's wishes? Go ahead.
Just a question, these sheds have been there for quite a while. How are they identified that they didn't meet the setbacks this late in the date?
The landowner submitted to the county a real property report, a survey showing all the structures on the property. And so we reviewed that survey and we provide our comments of, does it meet the setbacks? Are there development permits for these buildings? And so it came back that these 3 buildings didn't meet the setbacks. And why they were constructed there, I don't know, but that's how it came about. So in order to bring it into compliance, the landowner asked for a variance for these 3 existing sheds.
Thank you. Commissioner's wishes? Go ahead.
I think we should approve this recommendation. Is there something I should read?
Yeah, you can read it where it says moved.
Move that the Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2025-180 for 3 existing accessory building structures requiring variances subject to the following conditions. 1, the development permit is issued for the purpose of the 3 existing sheds as variances. Defined as 3 accessory building structures with variances. 2, the variances have been granted allowing the following: shed A to remain 0.55 meters from the west property line with the required setback of being 3.05. Shed B to remain 0.57 meters from the west property line with a required setback of 3.05 meters. Shed C to remain 0.31 meters from the west property line with a required setback being 3.05 meters. Development shall proceed according to the county residential CR district requirements and must comply with all applicable provisions of the Wheatland County Land Use Bylaw.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Now we're on to subdivisions. First one up is 3.1 SD 2025-019.
Morning, MPC. For those of you who haven't met, my name is Taylor Felt, and I'm a planner with the county's Planning and Development Services team, and I'll be presenting the next 2 subdivision applications for your consideration. Starting with file number SD 2025-019 and referring to page 44 of the agenda package, the lands subject to this boundary adjustment are located approximately 8.3 kilometers southwest of the town of Strathmore and 250 meters west of the intersection of Township Road 234 and Range Road 254, and immediately south of Township Road 234. The application proposes to adjust the boundaries between lots 1 and 2 by transferring a 60.21 acre portion from lot 1 to lot 2. This portion of land is identified as lot 1A on the tentative plan here. And please note there is an error in my intro statement of the report here regarding the size of lot 1A being transferred. So the outcome, if approved, is a 9.76 acre parcel. This is identified as lot 1, and a 140.43 acre remainder identified as lot 2. In terms of development and servicing, Lot 1 was redesignated to Direct Control District 19 in 2020 and is developed with a recreational vehicle storage business, a dwelling, and several accessory buildings. Servicing is provided by means of a private water well and sewage treatment system, and access is available via 2 paved approaches to Township Road 234 to the north. Lot 2 is used for agricultural production and contains 2 natural drainage courses that flow into the Western Irrigation Canal to the south and east. Drainage is not expected to be impacted by the proposed boundary adjustment. Access to Lot 2 is available through an existing gravel approach to Range Road 254 to the east and a paved approach to Township Road 234 to the north. The county's operations department confirmed that the approaches along Township Road 234 were repaved in 2024, and therefore an inspection is not required for these approaches at this time. An inspection of the gravel approach to Range Road 254 will be required as a condition of approval and has been captured in the recommended conditions. Road acquisition agreements and easements for construction and maintenance of public works are already registered on both titles, subject of the application. With respect to municipal reserves, dedication remains outstanding for Lot 1. The required 10% reserve equals approximately 0.98 acres, and administration recommends that cash in lieu of land be dedicated with this application. The exact amount will be determined based on a market value appraisal provided by the applicant and confirmed prior to endorsement. Municipal reserves are not required for lots 1A and 2, as both parcels exceed 16 acres and will remain being used for agricultural purposes. From a policy perspective, the proposal aligns with the provincial and county statutory plans and regulations. The adjustment maintains agricultural integrity by keeping the larger agricultural remainder intact while consolidating non-agricultural uses within Lot 1. And this is consistent with the municipal development plan's objectives to limit unnecessary fragmentation of farmland. Landowners within a 1 mile radius and external agencies were circulated. No objections were received, and comments from agencies like ATCO, Fortis, and the WID indicated there were no concerns. Administration is recommending that MPC approve subdivision application SD 2025-019, subject to the conditions 1 through 5 found on page 40 of the agenda package. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Commission's wishes? Go ahead.
This particular property is right next to my location, and I think it is a good application. I don't know how else to say it.
Commissioner Kester, did you have a question?
Yeah, the value of the land. Did not the county, we have our own adjuster used to evaluate the land? How come it's switched now?
Through the chair to the commissioner, with subdivision applications that require reserves, we always have the applicant, they have an option to provide an assessment prepared by an appraiser of their choice, or they can actually avail of this through a third-party provider through the county. With this application, we determined through the review process that reserves were required. So we didn't actually receive the appraisal upfront with this application. So we need to receive that as a condition of approval so that we can understand exactly how much we'll be owing as cash in lieu.
Okay, I wasn't aware there was a choice there. Thank you.
So just for information, why is that particular piece of property under direct control?
Through the chair, direct control districts are typically used when a proposal doesn't conform with an existing land use district in our land use bylaw. So we have a set list of districts that captures most uses and developments in the county. When it's unique or special, a developer or landowner can submit what's called a direct control. And I have here on page 46, a visual outline of the direct control district. So cell 1 on the screen in blue is where the RV storage business operates from. And without subdividing, cell 1 then is where the residential development currently exists.
Good questions. Commissioner's wishes? Go ahead.
I think that's the idea, is we move that the Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025-019, subject to the following conditions. Subdivision,
Sorry. Commissioner Clay, you can actually just go with
as
conditions.
presented. Thank you. That helps.
Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor? Carried. On to subdivision 3.2 SD 2025-021.
Taylor Feltz with the county's Planning and Development Services team, here presenting SD 2025-021 for MPC's consideration. Referring to page 57 of the agenda package, the subject lands are located approximately 5 kilometers northeast of the town of Strathmore, immediately southeast of the intersection of Range Road 250 and Township Road 252. The application proposes to create one 19.12 acre parcel. This is identified as Lot 1 on the screen, and a 140.88 acre remainder parcel identified as Lot 2. Both parcels, if approved, will remain within the agricultural general district. In terms of development and servicing, Lot 1 is currently undeveloped. However, the intended future residential use is to be serviced by private on-site water and wastewater systems. The applicant provided supporting technical studies, including a phase 1 groundwater supply assessment and a private sewage treatment system model process report, both of which were reviewed by the county's third-party engineers and found acceptable for future residential development. Lot 2 is developed with an existing farmstead and accessory buildings. No new development is proposed here, and the lands will continue to be used for agricultural purposes. Access to Lot 1 is from an existing gravel approach on Range Road 250 to the west. Lot 2 is accessed by one gravel approach from Township Road 252 to the north and 2 approaches from Range Road 250 to the west. The county's operations department noted that all 4 approaches will require inspection, and this has been captured in the conditions of approval recommended by staff. Road acquisition and public works easement agreements will also be required as part of the subdivision conditions to accommodate future road widening and infrastructure needs. From a policy perspective, the proposal aligns with provincial and local statutory plans and regulations. The application meets the intent of the MDP's policies for first parcels out of a quarter section by avoiding further fragmentation of agricultural land, locating the parcel more than 300 meters from a provincial highway, providing access from existing developed roads, and avoiding linear or regular configurations. And it respects the natural features such as the shelter belt and the wetland to the east there. The creation of Lot 1 doesn't exceed the 20-acre maximum non-agricultural area within the quarter section, and the configuration ensures the remainder parcel continues to be a functional and viable farm. Municipal reserves are not required for this subdivision, as the proposal represents the first parcel out of the quarter section, which is consistent with the Municipal Government Act. Circulation was completed in September and October, and it included external agencies, internal departments, and landowners within a 1-mile radius of the site. And no objections were received from adjacent landowners, and comments from agencies indicated there were no concerns with the proposal. And with that, administration is recommending that MPC approve subdivision application SD 2025-021, subject to conditions 1 through 6 found on page 51 and 52 of the agenda package. And that concludes my presentation. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Commission's wishes? Go ahead.
Just a question. It's one parcel out of a quarter section for subdivision. And the way this thing is set up, it almost looks like eventually it's going to be 2 because it's already got an existing location to the north side of this property. So is that getting taken into account at this time, or it just doesn't come up?
Through the chair to Commissioner Clayton, we have to evaluate the proposal we have in front of us. Based on where the existing development is north of Lot 1, it does create the potential for a future subdivision. The county does have some policies around how many subdivisions can be created from a quarter section, and then what application requirements would be needed to demonstrate that that's a suitable location for additional subdivisions. So we do have a policy in the municipal development plan that allows for up to 20 acres to be subdivided from a quarter section of land up to 5 parcels. So it is entirely possible that future subdivision applications might come forward.
Go ahead.
Is there any duty or obligation by the county to notify? Because just directly to the south of there is a environmental problem that we've dealt with for a while through private and like that'll be whoever develops that land has to make sure that what they're developing next to.
It is to the chair, I suppose, is the question about if an application comes forward for that parcel of land or how this application might be
Well,
affected.
I just know from history, the residents that are, the home resident had problems with the development to the south of them, lease site. It's been historic here. Just want to make sure that with the subdivision, that the county's not responsible for notifying anybody of that.
Through the chair, I understand. So we did provide notification to that landowner, and no comments were received by the county. So we have done our due diligence in informing them of this application.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Go ahead.
I do believe that they're just subdividing that chunk out for their son to put a home in there, is my understanding. It is in Division 2, and there is somebody that lives right across the lake to the north of them, and I think if there was concerns, we would have heard from them.
Commission's wishes?
I can move that. I'll move that the Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025-021, subject to the following conditions.
Any further discussion? All in favor? That is carried. I will adjourn. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I asked that question about municipal reserves, and the answer was the applicant can choose counties or hire their own. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. Does the county scrutinize other reserves? Does our appraiser scrutinize and go over it, or is there any charge for that?
Through the chair. So we have our own kind of third party one that does it, and typically we're familiar with his process. If somebody were to submit one on their own, they do need to be an accredited appraiser in the province. Typically what we do when we get one that we're not familiar with is send it to our own appraisal department, just to get them to double check, make sure, is this within the ballpark of what you think is reasonable? Is the process that they use reasonable? And then if they think so, then we would say that that's acceptable.
Okay, is there a charge for that?
To review no, there wouldn't be a charge through the chair.
Okay, thanks. Somebody actually does something for free.
Any other questions? With that, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.